Than Strength. Welcome to More Than Strength. My name is Dan Flanick. Today we're going to continue our interview with Mike Bledsoe. This will be part 2, so if you're confused when it starts, go back to last week's episode and you can listen to part 1. And that way, when you come here, everything will tie together and you won't feel lost. Today's episode, we're going to dive really deep into the depths of Mike's psyche to figure out and learn about how he deals with some of the most challenging situations that he's been in his entire life that any one of us could relate to and learn from. And lastly, if you enjoy this interview with Mike and you'd like to have some advice on how to overcome the obstacles and challenges that you're going to face along your path toward a goal from one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the fitness world in Mike, then go to our website, morethanstrength.com, and on the lower right-hand corner, fill out your email and your name, and you'll get a bonus track of this interview with Mike where he explains the challenges that you're going to face and how to overcome them in order to achieve whatever goal you have set for yourself. So where we're about to pick up is where Mike is describing one of the most difficult times that he's ever faced in his life and how he dealt with that.
I'd say the next thing that happened that was super defining was my father passing. And that was due to suicide. So that was, when somebody dies in your life, that letting go of another human being that's close to you is difficult. And then situationally, not when somebody chooses to do that, there's extra questions and things that come into mind and things to deal with. That was extremely defining for me. Very specifically in regard to that with my father passing is when he passed, it was months later, I realized that a lot of my behaviors had changed and a lot of the things that I wanted out of life changed. Like a lot of what was happening inside changed after that. Mm-hmm. I think a large part of that had to do with, I realized, I don't really remember at what point I realized this, but there were a lot of decisions I had made up, probably most of my decisions up to that point in my life that I had made to make my father proud. And it wasn't necessarily things I even desired, like I think even choosing to go in the military, I think up to 3 or 4 years ago, I've been like, no, totally my choice because he didn't want me to go. But I also knew deep down that would make him proud. And so even though he asked me not to do it. And so now that I have another level of objectivity around the situation, mm-hmm. and I can really look back and be truly honest with myself, I think some people probably listen to this and go, no, I didn't do it for that reason. It's like, no, if you can really, really get objective about why you're making decisions, then I think you might be surprised. So with his passing, I definitely started living differently. And then I've done a lot of work in regard to my relationship with my father, and then also the family dynamic of my mother's relationship with my father and my relationship with my mother in regard to my father. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on there and what it means to be a man, because your father is like the person in every man's life and woman's life. Their father is the person who shows them what being a man is supposed to be. And your father does the best job he possibly can. And at the same time, there are a lot of things that aren't the best, right? And
yeah.
so you end up learning stuff. He'll teach you things intentionally and unintentionally. And the way that your mother talks about your father when he's not around or to his face is going to impact what your impression of being a man is. And so you end up growing up with these ideals about what you're supposed to be. And so I think that a lot of that stuff can drag us down. And So I personally, I think it all started when he passed, but even a few months ago, I was still doing like father work with, considering like, what is it that's truly aligns with me, and how am I being distracted from my purpose by these experiences that I had growing up. And so that was really impactful. And I would say, I've had some shamanic journeys with ayahuasca and things like mushrooms, where you can travel to South America and have these experiences with people who are professional guides who will make it very impactful for you.
Just by curiosity, have you ever heard of somebody named Alan Watts before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
The things you're describing, it just kind of sounds like you've gone through this journey of developing a lot of compassion for yourself and
Right.
kind of just being nicer to yourself.
Definitely.
So I know you meditate. Do you think that has a huge part in shaping your mindset towards all this kind of stuff? Or was there something else, I mean, alongside with your father passing away, that just really triggered this ability to be more compassionate with yourself?
Him passing actually didn't allow me to be more compassionate with myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of other experiences that caused it. That's just where I've had to do probably a lot of my work on myself. I think the compassion grew out. It was always there. It was just hidden by stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to find these stories and find the string and give it a little bit of a tug and watch it unravel. And it won't unravel in a moment. It can, but more than likely it's going to unravel over months and years. And one of the things I have discovered, the reason I bring up ayahuasca and other like shamanic medicines, is that it makes that process like 100 times faster. So I don't think it actually changes the process. It just allows you to do the work you're already doing at light speed. So I just want to put that out there.
So you kind of go through those transformations that might take months, years, and it takes a lot less time. Like, is it like an overnight kind of thing, or is it like after you're done with it, or?
Yeah. Well, the reason I think doing the medicines is so important is because you'll go through transformations in a single night that you might not have gotten through in your entire lifetime. So you're in the process. That process just might not end before you take your last breath. So it's really nice to take part in those ceremonies, in my opinion, because you're going to get through more, right? And sometimes a night might feel like 1,000 years in those experiences. So you're really carrying a lot of wisdom from that point. There are some aspects, I would say healing from the past can happen pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then the integration of the lessons you learned that's where the real work's done, is afterwards. So it can, even with the help of medicine, it can take months afterwards to integrate the lesson into your daily life. And there's two ways to consciously grow, as doing that inner work. And one is by seeking experiences and integrating those experiences and going into those experiences with the intention, with a very specific intention. The more specific, the better. And then the other way is through practices. And that's, for me, breath work, meditation, my morning ritual. So you can go after these big experiences, and you can have a practice. Most people only have a practice, or they only go after experiences. The true ninjas are going to do both, right? They're going to there's, again, not many people do both. And that's one of the things I really encourage people to do, is like go after these experiences with intention and integrate it. And then also have a practice where daily you go in with an intention, you do your meditation, breath work, and then you integrate that into your day. And so for me, meditation is so important because there is a higher self within you. So you have yourself, your ego, which operates with all these stories. The culture is attached to that. How you were raised is attached to that. Whatever systems you've been a part of are attached to that, and they're just dragging you down. And during meditation, I can go and hang out with the person, myself, the watcher, like kind of what we were discussing before.
Yeah.
I go hang out with that guy, get aligned, and think about purpose, and also that's a place where I can practice a lot of gratitude for where I am, how I am, and then making a commitment where the way that I align what's happening on the outside with what is happening on the inside is in the morning after meditation, I say a little prayer where I make a commitment to service, to humanity. So if I go days and days and days without doing that, which does happen, I find myself doing stuff that doesn't make sense to me. I go, why the fuck did I say that? Or why did I decide to go to that place? And I go, oh, I've not been meditating. I am out of alignment with my purpose. And when that happens, I get punished. I something will happen which I definitely don't prefer. And it's because it's out of alignment with like my higher self.
Do you think, kind of to tie it in a little bit to training and working out, do you think that the combination of both of those things helps too? Like, do you think that training is a therapeutic thing for you as well that kind of helps give you perspective?
Training is for me now. So what training used to be compared to what training is now are different. So now it's therapeutic. It's all about seeking quality. And actually I have on my board, I've been wanting to do like a Facebook live video about this, which is the quality of the mind and the quality of the body are not mutually exclusive. And again, I'll go back to this, is most people aren't doing both. I have a group of friends who they are very ardent about achieving high quality of mind, but their focus on quality of body is not where it could be. They may eat healthy and they do a lot of things, but they're not pursuing it at the same level I am. And then there are people who are seeking quality of body, which is the majority of my audience are seeking quality of the body, right? And they're not considering the quality of the mind at all. It's one of those cases where less is more. So sometimes people, I think a good way of explaining what quality of the mind means is I probably have about 5 things running through my head a day, and I crush those 5 things. I used to have about 100 things running through my mind a day, right? Like this thing just bursting, like, where the fuck did that come from? Why is this bothering? It's usually a negative thought that comes in bombarding its way in. Doesn't really happen much anymore. If it does happen, I catch it real early, toss it out. And because of that, when I'm doing my movement practice, when I'm training, exercising, whatever you want to call it, I have this intense focus around quality of movement, quality of breath, and quality of being present in the movement. And so with that comes, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I'm 34. I've got close to 20 years of training experience. Most of those years were competing, which means I torn my body apart, multiple surgeries and whatnot. And I am more flexible. I'm more balanced. I am strong. I have more energy. Like everything is better physically. And I was always trying to beat my body in the submission. So, I wanted my body to be a thing, and I thought I could mold and shape it. And I did a pretty good job for a while at that. But it was when I started focusing and putting a stronger emphasis on quality of my mind, then everything that I knew about how to train my body like became easy. So it's kind of like people know that they shouldn't be eating donuts, you know, but for some reason they still eat the fucking donut, right?
Yep.
And that has nothing to do with the quality of your body. That has to do with the quality of your mind, right?
Yep.
And so what I find is the more I can focus on this quality of mind, it just, now everything that I want to achieve with my body is like, oh, it's super easy, systematic, and it happens. I don't skip workouts. I don't eat shitty food unless like I'm going, look, I'm going out with friends. I'm going to have a drink.
Yeah.
You know, but for the most part, one of the reasons I'm healthier and have more energy than I've ever had is simply because I just don't do things that are out of alignment with my purpose. And part of my purpose is walking around in a very healthy, you know, meat suit.
That's a good way of putting it. So if someone were going to make a change in their life, whether it's starting to train, whether it's starting a business, whether it's just, I don't know, joining the military, do you think they're obviously, like you said, they're not exclusive of each other, but would it behoove somebody to really, I guess, get their mind right or do that first or at the same time as they're starting whatever journey that they're going on?
Again, I don't think any of it's separate. So if you start getting your mind right, your body will follow. You start getting your body right, your mind might follow a little bit. But if what your purpose truly is physical in nature, then by getting your mind right, your body will definitely just fall in line with that.
Hold on, cut out for a second.
Yeah.
What did you say? By getting your mind right, what?
By getting your mind, it's important to get your mindset right and really find that purpose and alignment, because if you don't do that first, you may make the wrong decision. Maybe you're not supposed to do that thing that you feel compelled to do because you have a perception of how you'll be perceived by others. I find after I work with a lot of people. I work with a lot of athletes, coaches, business owners, lots of business owners. I don't know how many people invested time, energy, and lots of money into something that after we do some work, they walk away from it because it was not ever the thing they wanted to do. It somehow just happened, you know? And when we look at it, it's because they thought they were living for somebody else that wasn't really their true self. And so because of that, I say, let's get the mind right first. Let's identify that your true purpose. Let's get really deep because we don't want to waste any time going in the wrong direction. I'd be willing to bet most people that are chasing like the CrossFit Games are going to wake up one day and go, fuck, like that's not really what I wanted to be doing the whole time. But I did it. I think, that happens in every sport. You know, it's like you hit a certain level of achievement and then you realize that didn't make me happy at all. This is not in line with my purpose. I just wasted years. And if you're competing, your health, because it's not healthy. So you're sacrificing all these things for something that's not even in line with what you're here on earth to do in the first place. So get your mind right. And then if your purpose is physical in nature, which mine is, then the body is going to follow very easily. And it'll be in alignment with exactly what it is you're here to achieve. So part of what I'm supposed to reach out to people in the strength and conditioning community and the fitness and people who are seeking health. And so that's my purpose. So it makes sense that I would be as healthy as humanly possible with my body. And of course, you know, the body is where the support structures for consciousness.
So for somebody who's not even there yet, who has their purpose or who has we'll just call it, has their mind right to be able to embark on whatever it is they're trying to do you have, like with the business owners that you coach or coaches you coach or people you coach, do you have a process or a question or a prompt to get somebody to start thinking about their purpose or their why?
It's everybody's different. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's some general questions out there. I have like a list of 10 questions. Like, if you had 1 year to live, what would you do? If you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you knew you would fail and you would do it anyway, what would you do? These are like very vague, cliche, like purpose finding questions. You can Google that and those questions will pop up, right? What I find is just like anything else, say in fitness, someone could go, oh, I'm new to fitness. I want to learn how to squat. I'm going to go do the small off squat routine. By the way, bad idea if you're a noob. It's not made for noobs.
A horrible idea.
And if you've been doing it less than 2 years, you're in the noob category. But so you can do a general program. You could use those general questions, and it's going to get you closer. It's not going to do you harm, right? It's going to get you closer to where you want to be. But what I find is when I work with somebody, when I'm having that one-on-one conversation, it's there's no guarantee I'm going to get there in 5 minutes. And the questions that it's going to take to get there, I don't know where it's going to go. So for me, it's a very intuitive conversation, and it's almost different every time. There's common starting points, there's common ending points, but the path in the middle tends to be very different from person to person.
So you think most importantly that you just kind of start doing it?
Yeah, start doing it, start the conversation. Action.
It's amazing what happens when you just take action. Like I just started writing down, about 6-7 months ago, every day, I just started writing action steps. And at first I overwhelmed myself with it, too many. But then I just, like you said, kind of 5-6 of those things a day. What starts to happen when you just start taking action steps, whether it's through your training or your whatever exercise, whatever you, like you said, whatever you want to call it, or business or just anything in life in general. It's pretty amazing what happens when you just start doing.
Yeah. Just start taking action, start doing. There's different types of people in this world. And so there's this one personality test I like called Kolbe. That's Kolbe. It does cost money to take. But one of the things, one of the categories that will put you in is, are you a quick start or are you a finisher? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of quick starts in this world, and there's a lot of finishers, and sometimes people don't know who they are. And that's okay, but it's good to find out. And, somebody who is a quick start is somebody who they're going to find it very easy just to start taking action. And then somebody who's a finisher is going to have a really hard time starting to take action. Those are two people that should team up with each other. One person should start the project and the other person should finish it. And they can have respect for each other in that regard. So I think it's to say, hey, you just need to take action. I think it's a little, yes, that will work for some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little naive to think that that's just what every single person needs to do, because it comes easier for me than it does for, say, Doug. And his ability to finish is way better than mine. So it's one of those things where action is one of the things that can help for a lot of people, but not necessarily everybody. I was in a meditation this morning, and I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, and what I got out this morning is mechanical practice. So knowledge is greater than mechanical practice. So mechanical practice might be just taking action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And taking action is noble, for sure. But what is greater than mechanical practice is knowledge. And when I say knowledge, I mean knowledge of self. That means knowing your higher self and having that alignment. And then what's greater than that is meditation. And what is greater than meditation is surrender of attachment to the result. I'm looking down a little bit because I made notes this morning.
That's fine.
So so taking action is good, but if you can, through understanding, find self, your higher self, and sometimes through meditation that can happen. And going into meditation and quieting the mind is going to be the next thing that produces the best results. And then obviously surrender of attachment to the result of your work. doing the work. And if it doesn't turn out the way you were preferring it or expecting it, learning to not be emotionally caught up in that shit. And if you can go through, for me, I try to embody all of those points and do all of those things.
It's definitely a much wiser way of looking at that. So that kind of flows into one more question that I have for you. And when I reached out to you, I reached out to you on Facebook, and I was just reading a little bit about you, doing some homework. And I saw in your about section, it just says living a life of intent. And I really want to know what that means to you, because I can conjure up what I think it means, but I mean, I'd really like to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, that is, I think most people, and I used to live in autopilot. And I still do, I still have a lot of autopilot moments, but, to me, that's a reminder that, I have the opportunity to make a choice with every single thing that happens in my life at any moment. And that even means how I should feel, how I can feel about something. So I can choose to feel a certain way when certain things happen. And living a life of intent is knowing my purpose and then intentionally making choices and decisions that guide me towards accomplishing that purpose. So living a life of intent is in every moment moving in that direction. Not just 1 hour a day, not just 2 hours a day, not 5 minutes, from sun up to sundown. Like, even if I'm out surfing or I'm at a concert, whatever, I am living within the purpose of achieving, the things that I want to achieve.
So your purpose is kind of, I guess, is kind of like that magnet that holds you together as a person, and then the things that maybe go stray off of that magnet, you kind of use that to suck it back in and kind of realign yourself with who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we get distracted. I get distracted at times. I get shiny object syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just getting, as time goes on, and I think this is why the daily meditation practice is so important, is I'm getting better every day at noticing when I get distracted sooner and sooner and sooner. Because the moment I notice that I am not focused on what is important right now, I can pull my mind right back in. And that used to not be the case.
So it's not so much the ability of just to be 100% focused on your purpose the whole time. It's almost more the ability to recognize when you're not aligned with that purpose and bring yourself back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I think that's do you have anything you'd like to add? I feel like that's a really good place to wrap up for today.
That's good. Yeah.
Where can people find you and learn more about you?
I've been posting a lot to my Facebook fan page, just facebook.com/Bledsopia. So that's spelled BLEDSOPIA, kind of like Utopia.
Mm-hmm.
It's my little world. And, Instagram, Mike_Bledsoe. I like to put some stuff on Snapchat. I'm having fun with that. That's Mike_Bledsoe as well. Man, you can see I did a couple hundred episodes of Barbell Shrugged over at barbellshrugged.com. And then every week I'm still pumping out content for entrepreneurs at barbellbusiness.com. And we just started making that a video show. So you'll be able to catch it on YouTube and also subscribe to it on iTunes.
And just from my standpoint, anybody who's I feel like your Barbell Business applies to more than just gym owners. It kind of applies to anyone. The principles do. So if you're owner of any type of business, or you're looking to get into training, and Barbell Shrugged, Barbell Business are awesome resources for you to learn about that. So before we wrap up, I will let you know that there is going to be a bonus track of Mike and I talking about a little bit extra besides this main podcast. And if you want access to that, go to morethanstrength.com. And on that, when you go to the website, what will pop up is an email subscription where you can put in your information and you will have that track emailed to you so you can continue listening. That's
Do
all.
it. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is going to be good. You just wait. But that's all we have for today. I appreciate you listening, and you can find us on Facebook at More Than Strength, on Twitter at More X Strength, and then also on Instagram at More X Strength, and lastly on YouTube at More Than Strength. So there's all of our avenues. So thank you and have a great day.